so ridiculous. This is the second time I've had to restart this freaking stream because I pull up my messages on my computer and I have my grandma's phone number just right there. So I immediately stopped streaming. Luckily, nobody watches these. And I can go to my studio, which I just did, and delete the VOD. So I'm just streaming. I'm not making like a.
And she had like about. I could be lying to you for like 3 to 6 months to be sure it was best
Might as well start over.
Take care of it. Have a secret.
Yeah, I know
what's going on.
If you guys need me to go somewhere, I can
We
go.
may do that before it's over with. We'll explain what's going on today, though.
Yeah.
That's my partner,
Hey,
Greg.
Greg, pleasure. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's my partner. We work these cases together. We can bring him.
Can you tell me why
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
like
yeah.
John Dillinger?
Yeah, John Dillinger, right?
Not like that, but we'll explain it to you.
Alright.
He does do a good job with that. A lot of people, like the guy who was recently, just a bunch of channels have started making videos on him recently. He was married. He was the guy who was obsessed with his house, like the foundation of his house and everything, and he was gay or bi, but mostly gay, it seems like. And I got that vibe right off the bat. But he sat in the waiting room for 4 hours, and then he knocked on the door, but he knocked on the door for like a water or something, not to say like, what the hell is going on? Why is nobody talking to me? Why am I here? How is my wife? This guy does a good job of that, which means, well, which might mean that he's planned this for a while, and or he's cool under pressure.
What do you know about John Dillinger?
Huh?
What do you know about John Dillinger?
Well, I see on the History Channel. I'm a history buff.
Okay. What's your favorite period or thing to
Dillinger?
I like the. You guys have COVID?
No.
Can I
Do you
take-
have COVID?
No.
Okay.
No. Not to the best of my knowledge. As long as I'm not around a bunch of inmates, I'm gonna take that.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that works for me. That way we can actually have a
One other
conversation.
thing, I'm kind of hard of hearing.
Okay. Okay. So am I. So is he. So.
He said, as long as I'm not around a bunch of inmates. So does he wear this to cover up that? I didn't mention it before because I thought it was a birthmark or something. But he just said, and I didn't notice this before, I take this off unless I'm around a bunch of inmates. So maybe he's got like a gang, maybe that's some kind of offensive tattoo. Interesting.
So.
Okay.
So we're all in the same boat. We all kind of understand.
Okay.
So.
But it could be a birthmark still.
So you already met my partner, John. Once again, I'm Greg. Walter.
Okay.
Both of us are investigators down in Greenville County.
South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've never been
Water
to
with
Greenville,
lemon.
South Carolina in my life.
Okay, fantastic.
But it tastes like chicken.
Oh, you should. It's gorgeous
My
down
wife wants to go there because she says she's hears so much about how beautiful it is, and I've just been remodeling my home. We don't afford to go do much.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
These killers
And
in their
just get a
homes.
couple of
man.
little administration data first.
Okay.
You're-
Am I under
Love their
arrest?
homes.
Daniel Prince was arrested at his home in Bostic, North Carolina.
He
As he
asked,
entered the
"Am I
interrogation
under
room,
arrest?"
he maintained a calm, even somewhat relaxed demeanor. However, the detectives were not in a hurry. They needed a clear strategy to extract the truth from him.
Or am I just being detained and we're figuring out what's going on?
We'll get to that in a second. Let's just
Okay.
knock out some of the admin stuff, okay?
Sure. What do you need?
All right. What's your first name?
I
Daniel.
just have too much stuff open.
And middle name?
Glenn with one N.
One N, Glenn. And how do you spell your last name?
PR, Papa Romeo, India, November, Tango, Zulu.
Was he
Prince.
in the
Yes.
military?
Just,
It always throws people when I say that and they start writing so fast they get to C and have to redo things.
See,
Yeah.
that was just,
and date of birth?
that was all strictly efficiency. He spelled it out. Prntz. Oh, that's all he needed to say. That's easier than doing Romeo. Yeah, okay, so no, he didn't need to do that. He could have just said Printz. Because that's quicker than. So that goes against your point, Mr. Printz. What was I doing? Closing all my stuff. Because I don't want you people. No, it has nothing to do with that, honestly. I was just thinking maybe. Because every time I stream, I get 0 viewers, but that's okay. Because the VODs get some views. Not that any of this needs views, but I mean, what's the point of streaming if nobody's gonna watch it, though, you know? I would just do it myself. But I am realizing that I do enjoy talking to myself. So other people can hear it if they want. Quit. No, I don't need to save anything. See, this is what I just don't want stuff to pop up. But I don't need to save anything. No. Just get out. Okay, you're quit. I need you to. Oh no, what is this? It's the Finder. And then OBS is the only other thing. Oh, and I've got all of these. What do you call 'em? Links. No, it doesn't work that way. What I was thinking was that maybe YouTube, because my shorts get views, and they push people to watch the longer form videos, but nobody really engages, which is, I wish people would, just so I would know, what people liked, I try to say that I'm not like all about it for the affirmation, but that part is there too. You want people to like stuff that you make, but mostly I want to know. And I guess by not having engagement, that means that something's not working. But I wish people would say, like, hey, it's not working, this is why. But it hasn't been like that. But I do love streaming. Like, I'm a caretaker. I probably say that so much. But I need to, because it describes the situation I'm in. So I'm a caretaker. And I've been a caretaker before, so I know how it's done. I enjoy doing it, but it affords me a lot of free time. Even during the days, like, there's a lot of free time because the main part of the job is to always be around in case of emergency. And before I moved here to be a caretaker for my grandma, who had dementia really bad and was nearly like chair ridden. She was just in her chair all day and she could hardly walk. So I would like walk in front of her and walk backwards and kind of carry her. And so that was like I had to make every meal and do all the cleaning and everything. But with the situation I'm in now, she's able to cook and clean and do things, and it's good that she does that. Like, she should do that because it's good exercise, So I messed with the volume because usually I'm like hitting the yellow, but sorry about that. That was dumb. But yeah, so I have a bunch of free time. I'm just here in case of emergency. So I'm trying to put out all kinds of different content because I'm helping my dad with his. He's a financial manager, like pretty big time. Used to work for Merrill Lynch and then started his own company. So I'm trying to help him with. He is also a professor at U of H in Houston. I'm trying to help him, like he puts his lectures online. So I'm helping him with SEO on those on his YouTube channel, and also working with his business in some other ways. So yeah, a lot. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about AI, and then social media. Just like what's effective, what's not, how to. And so it's been really fun. And I need to go to Narcotics Anonymous. Let's put it that way. I go to the clinic every week, and that has made me function to the point where I'm able to be consistent, and that has never been the case in my life. Never. It's been a lifesaver, literally. Alright, on with the show. I had to clean everything up because I thought YouTube might be punishing me for having too many tabs open. That there might be something bad. But nope, there wasn't. Nope. True crime react. Okay, good. Okay. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Alright, what's a good phone number for you?
Now it is. I just got a new phone. My other one was cracked. It wasn't working real good.
Okay.
So
That's a good phone number for you?
yeah. Well, it isn't right now because I don't have a phone on me.
Okay. Well, you know, whenever you get your phone back, if I need to call you up and...
There's gonna be something with the phone. He's already making up stories about the
Yeah, a
phone.
bit more. And then,
Okay.
where are you living at?
Bostic,
Austin.
USTIC, North Carolina, 28018.
He's got his leg barriered in between this detective. Whenever he was talking about his phone, his hand closed. Digital flexion. Thank you, Chase Hughes. I think he just felt a little awkward after his joke didn't really land. Well, it actually kind of landed, but then he realized they're detectives. They're gonna laugh at my stupid joke. What was the joke? Oh, I don't have a good number now because y'all have my phone. And then he closed his hand. Yeah, because he's like, what a stupid idiot I am. No, he wasn't like that.
Right. And who do you live there with?
My wife. Last name.
Okay. What's your last name?
Ooh, I could read that.
Last name.
Okay. What's your last name?
Kirkpatrick. Her last name's Kirkpatrick.
Last name.
Okay. What's your last name?
No, not even close.
Last name.
Okay. What's your last name?
He says
She's
more
made
than
a
her
lot of
last name.
Really? What'd she do?
She worked at
I was listening
let
and
me think the name
changed
of
to
it.
that.
20 years between the two.
Where's that at?
Michigan, west side of the state.
Okay. Is that where y'all are from?
I'm originally from the east side of the state of Michigan,
Okay.
but I was in prison
He
in Michigan
needs to
for a
use
while.
the
And when I
mitten.
paroled to the west side of the state.
The
Okay.
mitten
And
is a
with
valid
her work with the police department and stuff, I met her.
tool.
I
Is that a big
worked-
difference between east side and west side of Michigan? Because you bring
There's
it
a
out.
huge difference.
Yeah, what's the difference?
The east side of the state of Michigan is you've got the Detroit, Wayne County, and the population, the racial demographic is very black, and it's been through the auto industries went bad and everything, and you've got a lot more poverty. The west side of the state is like Grand Haven and stuff, and people are a lot more affluent, and there's, but where she was at, Muskegon Heights, is kind of like little Detroit. It's kind of a bad area too. There's bad areas intermingled in and out.
It's like anywhere nowadays, you know, bad area here, bad area there. Every little town always has their own little pocket
Absolutely.
of, you know, badness.
Yeah, there's no badness in Grand Haven. Grand Haven's like one of your top resort places, from what I understand.
Bostic is a small town with a sparse population, where
This guy didn't even notice it. Probably. But he is. Well, he may not be racist, but what he said right there was. He equated the failed auto market. The area is impoverished because of the failed auto market. There are a lot of black people there. It's a bad area. So yeah, that's a racist way of explaining that. Those things might all be true. That there's a lot of crime in that area, because yeah, I think he did say something about black people committing a lot of crime. But yeah, when you is that racist? I don't know. I have no interest in being politically correct. Other than for, like, I'm not gonna say that. I wouldn't want to say that. I don't want to say something that is agreed by everyone to be offensive or harmful, because I don't want to hurt anybody. No interest in that. Doesn't matter. I can't say it doesn't matter what you believe, but your sexual orientation, gender, don't care. But if you believe something that is gonna hurt somebody, then yeah. And I mean, like, actually hurt them. And that goes for raising your kid, believing that if they don't do this certain thing and act in this certain way, that whenever they die, they're going to be tortured and burn alive for eternity.
where the peaceful atmosphere was disrupted by the emergence of
I think that's abuse. I think that's harmful.
a suspect with a criminal record. Previously, Daniel had served 13 and a half years for kidnapping. His past was far from clean, further increasing the detective's suspicions.
What'd you get locked up for? Because you said you got paroled.
I got paroled. I was locked up for a kidnapping charge.
Okay.
He said, I got paroled. He touched his face. It probably is a tattoo he probably got in prison. But what he said earlier was kidnapping, but he said it shouldn't have been kidnapping. We all agree kidnapping is wrong. Everybody. You can't hold someone against their will, make them go somewhere. It's like human trafficking. Everybody knows it's wrong. Slavery. Everybody knows it's wrong. You cannot make someone take away someone's rights to move freely or to do what they you can't just do that. And he agrees. So he says, yeah, they charged me with kidnapping. It shouldn't have been kidnapping, though.
and I did 13 and a half years for that.
Oh, wow.
I did 1.5 years for a false statement on a vehicle title. They were going to do that in case they didn't get the kidnapping to stick.
Okay.
But false statement on the vehicle title, when
He
my wife
mentioned that to say
that I
the
had
kidnapping might
we
not have
transferred
stuck.
a title on a car, and there were little boxes.
It was
And
always
I checked the
gonna
one closest to the word wife, but it was
Yeah.
for sister.
Ah,
And it's just, you know, when they're not sure if they're gonna make something, they want something to hold you with. So the false statement, that's all that was.
He's throwing that out there. They didn't have a strong case on the kidnapping. I'm not a kidnapper. That's wrong.
The kidnapping, I was doing some bad shit that I shouldn't have been doing.
fair enough.
But I shouldn't have gotten kidnapping, but I was doing some bad shit.
What kind of shit? What shit have you gotten?
I really don't want to say.
Just bullshitting,
No, huh?
We're just bullshitting.
Nothing when you're talking to two police detectives in a room, it's just bullshit. Okay, I've been through the system enough to know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a pretty intelligent guy and he's pretty confident. Not super confident, but he's gonna be tough to deal with.
Okay. All I'm gonna say about that is I did my time, I made my first
Fair
parole,
enough.
and I haven't been in trouble since.
Hey, and that's great to know. You know, a lot of people, especially being what you've been through, they come out and they go right back to it.
You know, I had a boss when I first got out, and he was getting in trouble. And the police, this is a funny story, these two lady police officers
They
come to
wanna
my
hear a
house
funny
because
story.
they wanted to question me about him. The one knocks on the door, and there's a set of steps. And I open the door, I don't have my shirt on. I said, what's going on? And she said, I'm with the police department, I want to talk to you about. And the other officer standing down at the bottom of the stairs with her hand on her pistol. And I'm like, are you officers concerned about something? And she says, we've been told you might not like the police. I started laughing. I said, let me put on my shirt, I'll let you in. I put on my shirt, they come in, and the woman who's my wife is sitting there. I said, y'all might know her. She works with the police department. This is my girlfriend. I ain't got nothing against the police. The police didn't put me in prison. I was being stupid. I put me in prison.
Yeah. A lot of people don't even come to that conclusion either.
No.
So what do you do now?
I do a lot of,
I have a
I hate to say
defibrillator
it because
in
I don't
there.
want to get in trouble with the IRS. I do a lot of home remodeling,
Okay.
home repairs. I lay a lot of tile, and I got a
Yes.
customer base that has me doing stuff. And
Daniel's records revealed a troubled history. Having previously been incarcerated for kidnapping, he admitted to past wrongdoings but avoided discussing specific details. This is a common trait among individuals who manipulate information to evade prosecution.
that sort of thing.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
Since I got out.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty good trade.
Since I got out, I've been doing it here and there, and
Yeah.
you know, everybody pretty much
Plumbing?
thinks I'm Dan. Because whenever I introduce myself, hi, I'm Dan.
Yeah.
So everybody, because I don't want people telling me they don't want me working for them because
Electrician?
everybody wants to look everybody up, and I'm not doing
Oh,
anything. and I
yeah,
don't
he
want
uses
somebody
a
looking at
fake
me.
name.
Yeah, everybody's running
Smart.
everybody's name and
You
all
know,
that jazz. Okay, so well, why Boston, North Carolina? Come all the way down from, say, Michigan or Wisconsin?
okay, here, this is real easy.
Yeah.
Michigan.
My wife wanted to get, they had taken the police department she was in, the city manager's
Yeah.
office there. She was close to being vested for pension.
Yeah.
So they went ahead and reduced her to part-time.
Wow.
And she had like about, I could be lying to you here, like 3 to 6 months to be she was vested for
Yeah.
pension. And the city managers, one of the things she did for them a lot was she wrote grants. She got millions of dollars worth of new squad cars, all kinds of stuff. So for a few $1,000s worth of pay, they got rid of the person getting $1 million worth of grants. And they gave her part-time, and she wanted full-time work. So she started looking for full-time work. She got a job at the Air National Guard base at Charlotte, going to 45th Airlift.
Yeah.
And we moved down here because of that. And I started doing jobs for the people at the guard base that were wanting little things done.
Yeah.
I'd do anything, man. $25 an hour, whatever you need. First job I did was put in a little fence.
Yeah.
Next thing I did is I go out there and I put in all this landscaping stuff. I'm out there
25
working
an
on
hour is not
Michigan. I'm working out
terrible.
there's 90 something degrees. I'm out there putting paper bricks and filling stuff in. Word spread that I would do things for a good price.
25 an hour? Yeah, but for a contractor who charged probably 50 an hour, 40 an hour, 60. When I worked for a contractor, he paid me, I think he paid me $50 an hour. He was just like an old man. It was on Craigslist, actually. I posted an ad, like help wanted. It was like looking to work, because I was living here at the time, and I was doing so terribly. My mental health was rock bottom, and I was drinking all the time. And I put a post. I was like, I need work, da 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 da. And this super nice guy, old gentleman, he's like, I'm older, I can't do the stuff I used to be able to. So he hired me to like dig post holes and just really do grunt work, which I was happy to do. And I think, no, he paid me $20 an hour. But no, he may have paid me $50 an hour. I think he did, because I just worked for him for a few hours here and there, just for a couple weeks. I don't remember why we stopped working together. Probably because I was terrible. Like, he had me use a handsaw to cut a line, and it was not even close to straight. And he wasn't going to yell at me. He just looked at me. He's like, hey, you need to make straighter cuts. It's like, yeah, I'm new, but that doesn't cut it. And I didn't realize it at the time that people don't just give you endless breaks. Like, it doesn't cut it. Learn how to cut straight and cut it straight. But back then, all I was thinking about was, I need money to go get booze to make the just unbearable feeling that I was having constantly go away. I needed medication at the time, and I got it.
Price.
Yeah.
And then I just got one client, led to another client, to
But
another
he was
client.
a great guy.
Do you price out based on the job or hourly?
He lent me money afterwards, and that is one thing that I feel glad about. For the best that I can remember, that I paid him back, because he lent me money a couple different times, and I paid him back every time.
It's gotten to the point where they just tell me what they want done. I keep track of my hours and tell them how much they owe me when I'm done. Everybody trusts me because I do a good job for a decent rate.
Yeah.
So.
And you're traveling all the way from up here to Charlotte. What kind of commute was that?
It's about an hour, 15 minutes, depending on the day. It's taken me as much as 3.
That was a complete nothing statement. Everybody trusts me because I do a good job at a cheap price. No. That's why people would use you, but anyways, that's a generic thing that everyone says. So why did he say that nothing statement? He just wanted a resume statement, Scott. It was a resume statement, Greg and Scott.
Before when 85 gets
Oh
put
yeah,
up.
85 is stupid.
Yeah, 85, and then I have to hit 485 because a lot of the work I do is in Piper Glen and Raintree.
Okay. And your
I'm
wife
having trouble talking, my throat's getting dry.
You're fine.
Mine too.
Probably get you a glass of water or something if you need
A
that.
glass of water would be great.
That's what I found.
He claimed to travel frequently between North Carolina and Michigan for work. But was this a legitimate job, or merely a cover for something more nefarious? Detectives needed to verify whether these trips had any connection to Edna's disappearance.
Might as well.
I didn't
So,
know that they were.
Your wife, she was doing the.
She was full-time administrative assistant for the wing commander at the
Okay.
145th
I didn't know they were
So she was in the
talking
military?
about
No, she was a civilian administrative
Okay.
assistant.
How'd you like that?
an actual
She cried for 6 months because she was like she was having trouble making her
case.
way in.
Really?
Like
And then she got doing really good at it, and she got a lot of friends there. She wound up doing really well.
Singular
She retired
case.
from it. She's a retired state employee.
Okay, so she finally got her pension.
She got pensions. She got a couple pensions coming in and things.
Did she get anything?
He's starting to look more and more nervous.
rude. I don't think so.
He
Not
hasn't
much of
really
anything.
moved
She got that
much
close and
in his
Mhm.
lower
nothing.
body,
Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Appreciate it. Wow.
but he's very jumpy.
Oh,
Yeah, a little bit better.
Your
well,
throat
yeah.
dries out. That's another thing both the detectives are thinking to themselves. If early in the beginning he like burped, but like gastric distress is a symptom of stress. And so is dry mouth, dry throat. So they're both thinking like this guy's real worried about something. And then he started to explain like my phone's cracked, so I got a new one, yeah. Because it had a crack and it wasn't working very well, is what he said. He's like, it's not working real well. Like, what? How does. What? I've never had a phone that, like, dropped calls, and it was never the phone. If a phone didn't work, it didn't work. It's not just like if the screen was half broken, then he would have said the screen was broke. He said the screen was cracked. But if it doesn't kind of work, like part of the screen's out, I'm gonna say my phone doesn't work because the screen went out, so I got a new phone. But he's just trying to say my phone doesn't work very well, so I got a new phone. Guess I wasn't fast enough on the websites.
It's kind of a little nerve-wracking to have four people pointing assault rifles at you,
Yeah.
telling you to put your hands in the air when you're not expecting to have anybody bothering you.
Yeah, what were you up to today?
Hmm?
What were you up to today?
Today I had the outside of my house opened up.
Okay.
I was working on some plumbing stuff
Yeah.
and fitting some pipe stuff together. So
Yeah. So you travel a lot?
So he's
I do sometimes.
plumbing.
Or you say mostly, I guess what I'm
That's a
getting
good
at is
trade, bro. Good
how
trade.
far out are you contracted, or are you just like a local guy?
Oh no, I'll go anywhere. I go back to Michigan to do work.
Really?
And in fact, I'm supposed to go back to Michigan the end of the month for the people that I was working. When I first got out, I ran an ad.
He just decided to say, yeah, I'll go back to Michigan before they even had to ask him the question. You been to Michigan? He's doing an awful job, this suspect. He's doing such a terrible job. These detectives, they don't have to say anything to each other or to him.
In Craigslist, handyman.
Yeah.
I grew up doing everything. My dad and my brothers, they did all kinds of house stuff. I knew how to do everything. I ran an ad for handyman.
This guy knows what questions they're gonna ask, and he answers them before they ask it.
While the interrogation was ongoing, the police searched Daniel's residence. Inside, they found several suspicious items that could be linked to the case. The pressure was mounting on him. Would he be able to maintain his composure as the evidence against him continued to pile up?
No.
Did the same thing, and I started getting jobs here, there, and everywhere. Well, the one lady, I'm the only person she'll trust. She's flown me back to
Did I
Michigan
speed it up?
when they had 12 inches of snow. Okay, the roof comes down, you get
I
snow
know
on
I
top,
did,
and you get ice that forms. Well, from inside the house, it's warmer.
No, I put it back.
So what happens is it will melt the
He
snow underneath, and
speeded
you've got
up.
this big ice pocket. It starts getting back under the shingles and dripping down through your house. She's flown me back to come up there and
And
chip
his
ice
mouth
off.
is dry
And I'll do it,
again.
come back here, and then I got up there February of this year.
He looked at the
I went
camera.
back up there to do a little bit of stuff for her, and the ceiling was all wet in the bedroom. And I told her, that ceiling's gonna come down. I can't sleep in this room
Oh,
anymore.
I wonder if
She
he
had her
was
room, and I was
thinking
staying in the
about.
guest room.
I wonder if he was considering. Oh, it looked like it doesn't. They're not supposed to, or I hear that it's not policy to bring your piece into the interrogation room. This guy really looked like he was looking to make a break for it. No witnesses.
I took off to come home, and I was halfway home, and she called me and said there was a crash, the whole ceiling came down. She's been trying to get people in there since February to fix this ceiling. She got some people to come in and clean it out, and she wants me to come back and now put up the drywall in mud. I figured it'd be about a 4-day gig, 1 day to put the drywall up, first mudding, then second mudding, third mudding, paint, and go home. And she told me she would give me what the insurance company gave her
Oh, wow.
to cover the damages.
How much is that?
Kind of losing her mind. She says that she thought, one time she said she thought it was $2,000, one time she thought it was 2,500. I told her I don't care either one, I'm fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so
Whatever works for you,
I'm
whatever
gonna,
you can do.
I'm gonna go up to Michigan, I'm gonna spend $300 on gas on a round trip. I'm gonna spend 4 days, which is one full work day and 3 minor days, and come home with $2,000 or close to it in my pocket, so that's 1,700 minimum. What do I care?
Yeah. How long does it take you to drive up?
To her place, because it's on the left side of the west side of the state, with good traffic, about 11 and a
Is
half
he
hours.
talking about Edna?
In pain. I took off to come home here. I'll do it and come back. Back to Michigan jobs here.
The evidence against him continued to pile up.
I did the same thing, and I started getting jobs here, there, and everywhere. Well, the one lady, I'm the only person she'll trust. She's flown me back to Michigan when they had 12 inches of snow. Okay, the roof comes down, you get snow on top, and you got ice that forms.
I think they're
Well, from
talking
inside the
about
house,
her.
it's warmer. So what happens is it will melt the snow underneath, and you got this big.
An old lady from Michigan.
3 minor days.
Her freaking name is Edna.
She's like my old aunt. In fact, today she calls
Yeah, I
me.
think they're talking about
And
her.
she says, I'm having problems.
Today she
I said,
calls
what's your
me.
problem? She was in a vehicle accident 2-3 weeks ago.
She was in a vehicle.
She hasn't got a vehicle.
Oh no.
And her family that's there is elderly. And she says, you're getting tired of driving me around. I don't do anything. I said, you got all the money in the world. You got an 830 something credit score. Go get a vehicle. She said, well, I don't know how to get, I can't get there. I said, I'll tell you what. Let me call the Jeep dealership in Grand Haven. I'm going to ask them for a guy that wants to make a sale today. And you might as well start putting on your makeup, because they're going to come out to your house. They're going to pick you up. They're going to take you with them. I will talk to them. They will get you set up with your insurance company, get you a tag on your vehicle, and you can drive home. I called. The guy was more than happy to drive 3 miles to go pick up a lady to sell a Jeep. Better than sitting around there all day waiting for someone to come in and buy a Jeep. So, there it is. And this is the kind of customer service I give to all my people. And Karen's more than a customer. She's like a great, wonderful aunt now. And she's 71 or 72 or something like that. And never had really mentioned going on for the last 20 years. Her husband died, got his head crushed in an accident in a machine shop. She got a lot of money because they had taken the stuff out of the machines.
Oh, wow.
The woman's got all kinds.
The woman he assisted had experienced a collapsed ceiling. Daniel claimed she had been trying for months to get it repaired, but couldn't find help. Detectives noticed he appeared unusually interested in her financial situation.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good on you to actually be
Why
willing
is
to
he
drive
bringing
up there.
that
Well,
up?
she pays me.
Yeah.
She trusts me.
You think
I
it'd
treat
be
her well.
obvious not to
And
be like,
she was there for me when I first got.
she's got more money than she can spend. Yeah. It's like, money's like nothing to her. You think he would be a little more savvy than that. Like, just don't talk about her financial situation. Like, shouldn't that be something you just don't want to talk to strangers about? They didn't ask. Maybe they did. I don't know. I'm sure they didn't ask how much money she made. Not yet, at least. Didn't sound like
She
it.
knew I had gotten out of prison, and she allowed me to go over there and do some yard work for her. And it basically became a trust thing. In fact, another one of my buddies got out of prison later, and there was 2 people jobs. I got him some work, doing stuff for her. She trusted me to have him there. And he wound up going back to prison for some shit that I would have never thought he'd have gone to prison for in all my life.
You shouldn't have trusted that
I
guy.
tried to help him, it just didn't take.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
She
But at
shouldn't
least you
have
got a good
trusted
reputation.
him.
She takes you for your word, so you got that going.
Everybody's like that.
Yeah.
I have people all over the place that I go and help.
They
I go look at
worship
jobs
me.
all over. I go look at jobs. Shoot.
People,
I've been to
man.
Tennessee. I've been to North Carolina, South Carolina, Michigan doing stuff. I've got people that have a property in, don't get me lying to you, it's either Virginia or West Virginia. I think it's Virginia.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Yeah, but you know, what's the difference? Rednecks and moonshine.
Right.
And so they had me looking at a cabin there, and I was going to do some remodeling work for them there.
What you doing,
And
baby
then
girl?
she had got downgraded from a they either call it a technician. I think one of the guard positions is a technician where you don't make as much, and then the other one's your full guard. They reduced her position to a technician. She was still a colonel, but she lost like $40,000 a year. And she decided to opt out of that. Still very good friends with him. I've done a lot of work for him in South Carolina, Rock Hill. I mean, I travel all over.
Yeah.
You gotta go where the money is. Excuse me.
For that.
You ever been in the military?
Yes, sir.
What'd you do?
I've done a lot of things. I've got several MOSs.
Well, I mean, because, you know, you gave me the mnemonic alphabet when you
But
spelled
I
it.
kind of pick up on it.
That's because people slow down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they start writing as soon as they think it's Prince, they go to CE. So when I spell the last name, I do it phonetically because they slow down. I went in originally, I started working with helicopters.
Okay,
I was a 67 November helicopter mechanic crew chief. Went to Texas, worked on helicopters there. Put myself on levy, went to Germany. Started working with a special forces unit in Germany. Started OJT and doing that, and then the Army said you can't OJT into that because you have to be jump qualified and all the other different things you have to do. But I got NBC, which is nuclear biological chemical training, and I worked in one of the chemical rooms when I got hurt. I've been hurt a couple times in the military. Just bullshit, getting hurt, you know, nothing long term. And just
His statements about the payment for the work were inconsistent. At times, he mentioned receiving $2,000, while at other moments, he suggested it was $2,500. This raised suspicions that he might be manipulating the situation for personal gain.
I
What are you
did.
in for?
It's just frustrating.
4 years, 9 months, 13
But
days.
it
So you
wasn't
started off
with
as a helicopter
the,
mechanic,
it's
then you went over to,
toothpaste.
Now, if you run that and you check, you're gonna find a discrepancy
that.
there. I went on
It
June
was
12th,
with-
1980. I got
maybe
put out
that's
on
it.
September 5th,
It was with
1984 on medical discharge.
those
The
little
reason
finger
you'll find a
cover
discrepancy
things.
is for some reason when they issued my
They don't do
it
much
said
for
I've
the
been in for
breath,
2
but
years and
they
10
sure
months.
do clean your teeth.
I never
much
figured out why
better.
they did that, but I got Senator Don Regal in Michigan to do an investigation on it. And they
good
came back and
girl.
they gave me a corrected, but they don't give you a brand new DD. They gave you a slip saying it was corrected.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay, so if you run it and it says I was in there for 2 years and 10 months, I wasn't lying, run it deeper. It'll show you that I'm telling the truth.
Okay, so a helicopter mechanic in Texas and then Germany.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you like Germany?
I love Germany.
That was early
I was,
80s.
huh?
That was before the wall fell too.
Yeah, I was up to Fulda Gap one time, got that shit scared out of me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Stupid story. Oh, man, I felt like a total ass. I'm a young kid, okay, I'm 18 years
Yeah.
old, 19 maybe 19. I'm up there on the Fulda Gap, we're doing war games. If you look down the other side, you see all the Eastern Bloc nations doing their war games. There was high D helicopters flying around, they turn and they start cranking the gun, but they wouldn't fire, just to intimidate you. Well, they're telling us people might come across the border and screw with you. So I'm sitting out there up on this
I
hill,
need to go
down
to
the
the
other side,
restroom.
there's a town probably about
I'm
2
gonna keep
kilometers
this
away.
running. I have
And
a
I start
feeling,
hearing
he's just gonna
through the
talk.
brush, and I'm on the radio, we got a problem.
I'll be back.
Because I'm supposed to be me and my 2 buddies, and that's all we see. They come out, they fly over with a helicopter, they shine a light, they don't see anything. A little while later, I call because we're hearing the same thing. Did this 2 or 3 times. They come out there and start looking around. You know what it was?
What?
Hedgehogs.
Really?
They had a bunch of hedgehogs where they were migrating or moving at that time of year or whatever the hedgehogs were doing, or there were just a lot of them in that area. I got the absolute living crap scared out of me by a bunch of damn hedgehogs.
Wow. I bet that's scary. I mean, being up there at the Russians.
Oh, and things were really not good at that point.
No, it was not.
No.
Was not, man. Wow. I mean, you know, you're a history buff. You look at all the times we got close to
Yeah.
one of the sides hitting the button.
Oh, yeah. We were always getting put on alert for something.
Yeah.
I was doing gate guard, which they called UP, Uniformed Police.
Yeah.
I was standing at the gate, you get it for 30 days at a time. And they had a time, one time this general pulled up with his driver and everything, and the general and his wife didn't have an ID, and I'm holding him there.
Oh, yeah.
And the guys driving for me, they got sidearms. And I got an AR-15, M16 with 5 rounds in it. And I'm telling them, I said, look, I'm not gonna screw up how I do my job with a general watching me.
Yeah.
And my job is to hold you till someone comes and signs this in or shows me proof of who this is. And
Daniel also mentioned helping the woman purchase a car, calling a dealership, and arranging for a salesman to pick her up. While this could be seen as a generous act, investigators questioned whether he had ulterior motives.
I made him open the trunk. I said, for all I know, you 2 guys kidnapped a general. You're getting on base. And I have to be careful here. The guy says, you won't just let us sign him in? I said, absolutely not. I like my rank.
Do it the right way every
Do it
time,
the
and
right
you won't
way.
go wrong.
I said, and you guys gotta do it the right way too. Well, we're in a hurry. I said, well, you should've got your IDs then.
Exactly.
So, you know.
I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't with that kind of situation, you know?
Right. So you guys aren't really interested in all my past and all this
No,
shit.
but it's interesting.
It's interesting, man.
But
Okay. Why am I here?
Alright, well, 4 weeks off.
Okay,
You?
perfect time.
What you see on television.
Why am I?
Yeah.
You can
My
stop at
friend
any
was
time.
going to.
We'll read you rights.
I have the right to remain silent. If I give up the right to remain silent, everything I say can and will be used against me, which is there's no positive in there.
Here's no positive. It's not can and will.
Right.
It could be.
I have a right to an attorney. If I want an attorney and I can't afford one, you'll provide me with one.
Free of charge.
Yeah.
Alright.
So oh, sir, one thing. One of you needs to go get my reading glasses. I told him if you were gonna have me look at any paperwork I
Where
need.
are they?
She was
Officer
just
took them from me.
That's fine.
She's
I can't
laying
read, sign
down,
anything.
guarding
I'm not trying to be
the
a problem.
You're
crawl
not. We don't want you to be a problem. We don't want to be an
right
absolute.
outside.
So I guess West Virginia and Virginia is sort of like West Michigan and Michigan.
Actually, they were two different states, but yeah, kind
But
of.
it's sort of like, yeah.
You guys are doing a great job of being real nice to me here.
We could be doing some tedious stuff somewhere else the way we look at it, but we're gonna follow up on something anywhere.
Well, whatever you're here for, it's gotta be important enough that you went ahead and sent a whole bunch of people to come get me.
That's a true statement.
Barrel
But
chest.
if we do it right every time,
A
just like we've
little
done in the
lower.
military, we won't go wrong, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Right.
It's got a barrel.
If, this comes down to me needing to go down to South Carolina to talk to somebody, I don't have a problem doing that.
Okay, that might speed things up. I don't know what the process is to get you back.
He's
I don't know. Extraditions can take a while.
Yeah, I've heard.
If you waive extradition. I don't know what this could possibly be, but if it's,
We'll explain to you. He's the lead investigator. I help him on a lot of stuff. He helps me on stuff, so I'm gonna let him take the lead. Do
I
what he
figured
does.
that the one girl out there, I asked her, I said, why would they have come at me as hard as they did? And she said, I told her I had a criminal record. She said, if they run your criminal record and background,
It
saw
is.
you had a violent crime, so they're gonna come at you like you're gonna hurt them.
We have to check that box, and when they look at that, that's,
And I'm sure you guys ran me before you came.
we did.
And I'm sure you
See, he is savvy with the police. I'm sure everybody knows that he knows why he's there. He is savvy with the police. I believe that. He's been to prison for 14 years. Kidnapped. He's not dumb. He's not super intelligent. I wouldn't say he's intelligent. Maybe a little. He's probably right around average. But whatever, that doesn't matter. And I have no idea. But he is savvy. So he would know what this is about by now. He would know I'm involved in some pretty heinous stuff. What are you putting me at? Instead he's just like, oh, like there is a big parade and you were a witness to something that you don't know about. Like, what do you think it is, bro? That should be a glaring red flag to him. To be like, this should not make sense to the detectives. So I should try something different, because this just sounds ridiculous. Whatever this is, y'all are doing a great job. I don't know why you came at me so hard, but we'll find out whatever this is. Yeah, I'm interested. Oh, man. No, if you were savvy, and you are, you would know, okay, what are y'all gonna accuse me of? Or what are you kind of accusing me of or waiting for me to admit? What do you think I did? No, he hasn't said anything like that. He's saying like, oh, we'll see. We'll see what this is all about. Interesting, though. The way y'all had your rifles pointed at me all like that. Man, that's interesting.
saw that I'd been to prison. And I'm sure that's why they thought we'd have to be.
Detectives observed that he had a pattern of building trust with vulnerable individuals, particularly elderly women.
I just got really
This led them to
self-conscious.
wonder whether he was deliberately targeting such individuals for financial exploitation.
Very careful.
They do this thing called a matrix now, where you have to put little points beside it. and that's a lot of points where we have to have some.
You realize all my convictions for stuff were 30 yards go home
I know
most.
that now. But still, they have to check that box.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
You know, I see stuff happen all the time. In fact, I called the police for something about a week ago, and I thought the guy might have had a gun in his backpack because the way he was acting. So really, I'm telling my cop, please be really careful. Like I said, nobody in your job position ever put me in prison. I put me in prison being stupid.
Well, looks like you're moving on though, so
I really am.
that's good.
Yeah.
When'd you get out? What year?
I got out December 15th, 2009.
You maxed out or you have to do
No,
some
no,
parole?
I made my first parole date.
Okay.
Well, I made my first parole date, but Michigan, they send you 3 months before you're able to parole, and they had me go ahead and parole, talk to the parole board, and then they wanted me to talk to a psych.
Yeah.
And they had me talk to a psych, and the first one they sent me was a psychologist, not a psychiatrist.
That's a big difference.
And, so then they had to redo it, so it took another 6 months. But they let me go on the first time. In fact, I was plus 16 for probability parole.
Yeah.
And the guards told me they'd never seen anybody higher than plus 4 or plus 5. Because I didn't get in any trouble the whole 13 and a half years, maintained board.
That's the secret, ain't it?
Yeah, I didn't, I did something that rightfully put me in prison. Okay.
Alright, here we go. So, before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights.
Do you want to initial or just check?
You can initial.
Okay.
You have the right to remain silent.
Yep.
Anything you say can be used against you in court.
Yeah, always is.
None above.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask
Better
you
believe
any questions, and to have him with you during questioning. If you have no money to pay a lawyer's fee, the court will appoint one
So I'm trying to.
You have the right to stop at any time.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty much boilerplate.
Okay, that's fine. We can read the
Doesn't hurt.
waiver. And just,
I understood this statement, and I understand that my rights are, I'm willing to make this statement and answer questions. I understand that I know what I'm doing. No promises or threats. You guys gotta quit threatening me.
I'll stop.
Okay.
stop, man. I mean,
Okay, I want to start paying attention to his body language.
You want me to fill all this out?
yes, sir, that's to your ability.
I'm pretty sure I can handle it.
You'd be surprised.
No, you would. No, you probably wouldn't. These stories I've met before.
Oh, yeah.
Have kids?
Oh, good Lord, no.
Oh, good Lord.
Daniel recounted his time as a helicopter mechanic in Texas and Germany, emphasizing his experiences before the fall of the Berlin Wall. He spoke of his encounters with Eastern Bloc forces during training exercises, recalling moments of fear and uncertainty.
My penmanship is horrible. My arm, I got hurt
wanna
and stuff,
come in,
and my
Bubba?
arm shakes. Education, some college,
Sure, that works.
school attended.
Oh, yeah. Did that while you're in the service, huh?
Huh?
Did that while you're in the service out there?
Yeah, you know what was really cool is they had it to where, just a second, this one requires, okay. They had it to where I actually was able to take classes over in Germany. They had people that were on the different concerns over there that were able to go ahead and give you your test. It was mostly classroom stuff, very little, what do you call it, when the instructor stands in front of the class, very.
Lecture?
Yeah.
Yeah, lecture, that's the word.
Kinda like go, FaceTime it, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Did you actually get a degree out of there, or no?
No.
What were you studying?
Law, criminal justice.
Okay, looking at being a lawyer.
I was originally wanting to be an attorney, yeah.
What field?
I wanted, this is, God, you guys would laugh at me if I told you.
I used to want to be a corporate lawyer.
Well, I didn't want to do that. I actually wanted, that sounded boring to me. I actually just wanted to get the law degree and then to kind of figure out by trying to have things work where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a judge.
Oh, wow. Why's that?
Go big or go home.
There you go. Because it sounded like a cool job. I was
Sounded like a
20
cool
years
job.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to be in charge.
All right.
Why am I here, sir?
I'll talk to you about August 27th, 2021 this year.
What day of the week was that?
Oh, it was a Friday.
Okay.
Where are you on that day? What's your typical Fridays like?
Some Fridays I go do jobs, some Fridays I stay home, some Fridays I go look at jobs, I do all sorts of things. days run together for me because I don't have a set schedule.
Fair enough. When as the jobs come, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So specifically the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
What, 2 weeks ago? Do you remember where you were at?
Not specifically.
Where do you think you were at?
I actually wanted, that sounds boring to me. I actually just wanted to get the law degree and then kind of figure out.
As the jobs come, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So specifically the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
What, 2 weeks ago? Do you remember where you were at?
Not specifically.
Where do you think you were at?
I've been going all over the place. I've been back and forth to Charlotte. I've been down to South Carolina.
Like, where's the jobs in South Carolina taking you?
Actually, I was down to Travelers Rest, but I don't know if it was Friday or Thursday. I know I'd been there earlier that week.
Okay. But you don't remember which day specifically?
No, it was either Thursday or Friday.
What kind of job were you working on?
I wasn't.
You wasn't?
I wasn't. This lady had talked to me several times. I'd been down to her house 2 or 3 times. We kind of got to be friends.
His stories became increasingly dramatic, including an alleged standoff with a military general at a base checkpoint. Daniel insisted that he had strictly followed protocol, refusing to allow entry without proper identification. Investigators noted his tendency to paint himself as a principled enforcer of rules.
This woman has so many damn problems, mostly her daughter.
Yeah.
And what she did is she had me looking at ductwork that she wanted done because somebody had done ductwork for her and she was suing them because they didn't do all the ductwork or something. She would call me and have me come down there.
Okay.
And she was constantly having problems. She said she needed to have money at one point in time to help her daughter because her daughter was in jail. Then she needed money another time because, what was it the next time? She was hiring a private investigator because her son-in-law was, she talked to me all kinds of stuff about it. We got to be pretty good friends about stuff like that. But she kept seeing like she was blowing me off on actually doing any work for her. She wanted me, she was going to have a guy come out and wash her house, and I said, well, if I'm coming down here to look at other stuff, I got a power washer. I can wash your house and clean out your eaves for a couple $100. She was going to have me do it. Packed my power washer up. Went down there. Never did the work because I don't have the money right now. I got to sell a bunch of jewelry. I got to sell a bunch of stuff to go ahead and get more money for a private investigator. Then she wanted a different private investigator because she didn't like the one she had. So it was like one excuse after the other.
How'd you meet her initially?
Years ago.
Okay.
Years ago, it was somebody given me her name or number or my name and number. I get passed around a lot.
Okay.
So it was a years ago thing.
That's pretty awesome. Your name made all the way down to Travelers Rest, South Carolina. That's good reputation.
Yeah.
Solid work.
I do that. And like I said, with the thing with sharing, I give my customers good, I don't advertise. The only way I get work is if somebody gives my name out.
Okay, so you went down there and where's her house at? You went to her house? Okay.
I know how to get there.
You do?
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I don't know the actual address anymore. But I take and go 74 to where the exit is for 25, and I get on that and I just keep going until I see her house.
Okay. And then you just pulled in and
I just pull in. I either pull in the front, and then she told me you need to start pulling in the back, and then I pulled in the back, and then she said, one of my friends came over to drop something off, or somebody came to drop something off. She said my vehicle was in the way, so if I was going to pull in the back, pull up further. And you know, you pull in, you don't know where people's septic tanks and stuff are, and you pull in, you don't pull in as far until you need to. So I wasn't, you know, but that's it.
So that day, did you pull in the front or the back? When you first showed up to meet her?
The detectives listened carefully as Daniel spoke about his willingness to cooperate with South Carolina authorities if necessary. He seemed to be positioning himself as someone eager to comply, yet his demeanor suggested he was calculating his next move.
The first of the week, I pulled in and back.
Okay.
I don't know if I was there later that week for sure.
Last time that you were down there?
Last time I was down there, I pulled in the back.
Okay. And she meet you outside or in?
I'd go up, knock on the door.
Okay.
So you go talk to somebody, go knock on their door.
Well, I don't know if she was waiting for you outside or what.
Nah.
Okay. And so you've been down there a couple of times that week?
It could have been 2 times that week. It might have just been once. And
Any kind of ledgers or anything like that? Anything on
can I see my one phone? The little one that's broken. That's the new one. No, that's the new one. That's the little one that's broken.
This one?
Yeah.
Just tell me where it's at.
Is there a reason you want me touching my phone?
I mean, you can touch your phone right there.
Okay. That's how you get into it.
Okay.
And let me see. That's a calculator. I always hit that for calendar.
Okay, yeah. I get those confused.
Okay.
Yeah, 27th is Friday. That's not ringing a bell?
No, because I have my events marked here and here.
Okay. So you were down there on the 25th?
I think I was down there on the 24th.
Okay. And what she have you working on, or what she send you down there for work on that you didn't work on?
Well, she told me she had a truck or something that I need a truck. And she said that she had some paperwork that was gonna be done on a truck at that point in time, and I was gonna look at a truck and possibly get a truck from her to go ahead and do some work. And she was mostly interested, and she also had some stuff that I really wasn't qualified to do, but I got a buddy that I thought I might be able to talk to to help me with it. She said she had some termite damage and they needed some boards replaced under her house.
Okay, gotcha. So she was more so just having you look at something and see.
Went down there, never did the work, because I don't have the money right now. I gotta sell a bunch of jewelry, I gotta sell a bunch of stuff to go ahead and get more money for a private investigator. Then she wanted a different private investigator because she didn't like the one she had, so it was like one excuse after the other.
How'd you meet?
Daniel insisted that he had strictly followed protocol, refusing to allow entry without proper identification. Investigators noted his tendency to paint himself as a principled enforcer of rules.
This woman has so many damn problems, mostly her daughter.
Yeah.
And what she did is she had me looking at ductwork that she wanted done because somebody had done ductwork for her and she was suing them because they didn't do all the ductwork or something. She would call me and have me come down there.
Okay.
And she was constantly having problems. She said she needed to have money at one point in time to help her daughter because her daughter was in jail. Then she needed money another time because, what was it the next time? She was hiring a private investigator because her son-in-law she talked to me all kinds of stuff about it. We got to be pretty good friends about stuff like that. But she kept seeing like she was blowing me off by actually doing any work for her. She was gonna have a guy come up and wash her house, and I said, well, if I'm coming down here to look at other stuff, I got a power washer, I can wash your house and clean out your eaves for $200. She was gonna have me do it. Packed my power washer up, went down there, never did the work, because I don't have the money right now. I gotta sell a bunch of jewelry, I gotta sell a bunch of stuff to go ahead and get more money for a private investigator. Then she wanted a different private investigator because she didn't like the one she had, so it was like one excuse after the other.
How'd you meet her initially?
Years ago.
Okay.
Years ago, it was somebody giving me her name or number, or her my name and number. I get passed around a lot.
Okay.
So it was a years ago thing.
That's pretty awesome. Your name made all the way down to Travelers Rest, South Carolina. That's good reputation.
Yeah.
Solid work.
I do that, and like I said, with the things sharing, I give my customers good. I don't advertise. The only way I get work is if somebody gives my name out.
Okay, so you went down there, and where's her house at? You went to her house? Okay.
I know how to get there.
You do?
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I don't know the actual address anymore. But I take and go 74 to where the exit is for 25, and I get on that, and I just keep going until I see her house.
Okay. And then you just pulled in and...
I just pull in. I either pull in the front, and then she told me, you need to start pulling in the back. And then I pulled in the back, and then she said, one of my friends came over to drop something off, or somebody came to drop something off. She said my vehicle was in the way, so if I was gonna pull in the back, pull up further. And, you pull in, you don't know where people's septic tanks and stuff are, and you pull in, you don't pull in as far until you need to, so I wasn't, but that's it.
So that day, did you pull in the front or the back? When you first showed up to meet her?
I mean, this is obvious. He's describing things that are going to be relevant to the story that he's not being asked about. He's not that savvy.
The detectives listened carefully as Daniel spoke about his willingness to cooperate with South Carolina authorities if necessary. He seemed to be positioning himself as someone eager to comply, yet his demeanor suggested he was calculating his next move.
The first of the week I pulled in and back.
Okay.
I don't know if I was there later that week for sure.
Last time that you were down there.
Last time I was down there, I pulled in the back.
Okay. And she meet you outside or in?
I go up, knock on the door.
Okay.
So you go talk to somebody, you go knock on their door.
Well, I don't know if she was waiting for you outside or what.
Nah.
Okay. And so you've been down there a couple of times that week?
It could have been 2 times that week. It might have just been once. And
any kind of ledgers or anything like that? Anything
can I see my one phone? The little one's broken. That's the new one. No, that's the new one. That's the little one that's broken.
This one?
Yeah.
Just tell me where it's at.
Is there a reason you want me touching my phone?
I mean, you can touch your phone right there.
Okay. That's how you get into it.
Okay.
And let me see. That's a calculator. I always hit that for calendar.
Okay, yeah. I get those confused.
Okay.
Yeah, 27th is Friday, and that's never ringing a bell?
No, because I have my events marked here and here.
Okay. So you were down there on the 25th?
I think I was down there on the 24th.
Okay. And what would she have you working on, or would she send you down there for work on that you didn't work on?
Well, she told me she had a truck or something that I need a truck. And she said that she had some paperwork that was gonna be done on a truck at that point in time, and I was gonna look at a truck and possibly get a truck from her to go ahead and do some work.
Okay.
And she was mostly interested, and she also had some stuff that I really wasn't qualified to do, but I got a buddy that I thought I might be able to talk to to help me with it. She said she had some termite damage and they needed some boards replaced under her house.
Okay, gotcha. So she was more so just having you look at something and see what needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
How much does she typically pay you when you do come down?
That's the problem. I never got a work from her this time. I went down 3 or 4 times because I thought I was gonna get a good job out of it, and the woman it was always one excuse after
So it's
another.
3 or 4 times you've been down there?
Yeah, 3
And
times.
she's never given you work?
No.
And you keep going down there, so what's she paying you?
Nothing. I didn't get paid
So
anything.
it's a waste of money, a waste of time and money.
But you know, a lot of my time, I go to look at things. I'm supposed to go look at a job, tomorrow, which I'm betting probably won't happen at this point. But I don't know if I'm gonna have that.
So he's arguing that he drives down to South Carolina 3 or 4 times without getting paid. Nobody's gonna believe that. Something's going on. There's more to it.
Yeah, and stuff. And the thing is, she's so sweet and so nice, and you want to help her. And she says, you know, if I get work for her, I'll probably get other work.
That's good. I mean, that's great.
I mean,
Well, that's kind of how it works. That's how you market yourself, and
Yep.
you do good work for her. She tells her friends. Next thing
Yep.
you know, you're doing everybody on the street, especially a small community like that,
Yep.
where everybody knows everybody.
That's correct.
As the interrogation progressed, Daniel speculated about why law enforcement had approached him so aggressively. He acknowledged his criminal record and admitted that officers likely perceived him as a potential threat. Detectives continued to press, searching for cracks in his carefully crafted narrative.
Oh, and she had mentioned a lady that she's doing work for. That she goes over there on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and sometimes on Fridays. I think it's Wednesday. And her schedule got switched. She had to do different things. But anyway, she goes and takes care of this really old lady. It has places near Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Okay.
And she
Yeah.
she had sold a couple of her places, and she mentioned to me that old lady might need some work too. And I was thinking, oh cool, if I get some work at Gatlinburg, Tennessee, I can take my wife with me.
On vacation.
Yeah, and the place I'm supposed to go do work for real soon here is at Lake Tillery. Some people that have a lake house.
Yeah.
That's a 2.5 hour drive from my house, man.
Yeah.
And when you figure where she's at, it's really not that much farther than Charlotte, and it's also a lot better traffic.
Right.
You go going towards Charlotte on 85 and things get
Oh, I know.
We know all the
I
time.
grew up in Charlotte.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
Sure did. All right, so
Why
what,
are we?
what you're telling us is that's not you on the 27th? Food Line parking lot, Traveler's Rest?
I don't think so.
That's not you.
That's me. Where's that?
Food Line, August 27th, 2021. 9:23.
Okay.
22 seconds. Ringing a bell?
Yep. Yeah, I went down to Food Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you doing down there that day?
She wanted me to look at some stuff at her house,
Okay.
and she picked me up at Food Lion because she wanted me with her when she was
My dog's
gonna go meet
breath
some guy
seriously smells
for
so bad.
God dang it, private investigator.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
She wanted me to meet her down there.
Okay.
She was nervous because she says, I'm not sure I trust this guy. And she knows I've been in the military. And she says, will you meet me? And I go, yeah. And I said, where do you want to meet? She says, well, he's been talking to me. I guess I'm supposed to meet him at a restaurant. And I'm supposed to meet him down near Food Lion.
Okay.
So I went down to Food Lion, and she met me. And he didn't show up where we went to next. And she had been trying to get a hold of him. And we went to her house for about 2 hours. And then we went back to Food Lion. And
As the interrogation progressed, Daniel spoke about his parole process. He claimed to have been released at his first opportunity due to good behavior throughout his 13.5 years in prison. However, the detectives were not easily convinced by his account.
it just
She just dropped you off and you went home and you just noticed something about PI?
well, she wanted me to see if this guy was going to meet her where he was supposed to meet her.
Do you know where?
There was a hotel lobby that he had finally said, meet me at the hotel.
Okay.
She says, drive up there and see if he's there. And I drove up there, and things are starting to sound really squirrely to me. So she says, when you go up there, I want you to drive me around and take care of stuff.
Okay. So you drove her around?
I drove her around.
Where'd y'all drive to?
I wound up driving her back to her house. Because
Okay.
she said her daughter was coming up and she'd have her daughter help her pick up the car and
Oh,
stuff.
that's good. Okay. So,
Because her daughter was supposed to meet her.
did you ever meet her daughter?
I've never met her daughter.
Okay. So that's you and the Food Lion,
Mm-hmm.
checking out.
Mm-hmm.
You bought some yogurt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Sure.
My stomach was upset. I
Like
eat yogurt a lot. Is that me buying you?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
usually-
that's the
well,
pork. That's the
yeah.
pork.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know.
Mm-hmm. Can I see that? My glasses. Where's that at?
That's her pulling alongside. Food Lion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her tag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Her car.
Yeah, I told you I've been down there Thursday or
Yeah,
Friday.
yeah, yeah. Well, you know, at first you weren't sure about that, but, you know, I'm glad we got that rectified.
Well, I wasn't sure on the dates.
What's that bag you got?
I don't have a clue.
You don't have a clue? What about that? Is that more bigger, better blown up? That's you getting in, by the way, that jostles your memory.
Yeah, but I mean,
Do you remember what was in the bag?
yeah. No, I don't remember what's in that bag.
Okay.
She had several different bags.
Okay.
Because she said she was going to go give this guy she was meeting some different things to try to pay for a private investigator. Because she told me she went and took out a $4,000 loan against her vehicle.
Wow. Why'd she do that?
She said she needed to, and then he kept wanting more money and wanting more money.
Yeah, she normally carry a lot of cash or jewelry or anything like that?
Not that I know
Does she
of.
have a lot of savings that you know of?
I don't have a clue.
Okay.
I wasn't privy. I doubt that she had much savings because she talked to me about doing work for her, and she kept saying she didn't have money. In fact, she went down and got $4,000 or $4,500 or some dumb thing off of her car.
Wow.
And paid this guy to do private investigator work.
Inconsistencies in Daniel's statements continued to surface as he discussed his education in the military. He mentioned studying law and aspiring to become a lawyer, even a judge. However, such ambitions seemed far-fetched for someone with his criminal background.
Yeah, so she's kind of hurting a little bit, I bet. Little old lady like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go up to her house, right? So that's like 9:30ish in the morning, you go straight up there. What do y'all do for that 2 hours?
I just sit there and talk to her.
Okay, what'd she talk about?
The job, the bitching about her daughter, the bitching about the fact that her son-in-law has hidden shitloads of assets. She says she wants her Corvette, or not her Corvette, her daughter's Corvette. He's hidden a boat. He's hidden all kinds of stuff. something about he's been threatening her daughter. That's why she's getting the private investigator. The daughter got arrested for threatening her. Just all kinds of shit.
Oh wow, and then why did she want you to go back down to the hotel and drive around all the shops and whatnot? What's she scared
She
of?
said he was gonna meet her at the hotel. She says, these guys driving a big black truck. Go see if he's even there, cause I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And she says, he knows what my vehicle is, so if we're gonna go look for him, I don't wanna be in my vehicle. I want you to be with me for a little bit. I said, okay. So I left her vehicle for her, and I went and got into my vehicle with her, and we drove around, and she called her daughter, and she wanted to know why her daughter wasn't there earlier or something. And she said to her daughter, she says, are you coming up? And her daughter said yes. And that might have been earlier when we were at her house, she was still trying to get her daughter.
So, yeah.
But at any rate, she's
So she did talk to her daughter that day?
Hmm?
She did talk to her daughter that day?
She said she did. That's who she said she was on the phone with. And her daughter was gonna come meet her, and her daughter didn't come meet her, which is why she got nervous and wanted me with her. Cause she wanted me to make sure that she was okay. And then she says, just take me home, cause we had come back down this way. This guy had told her to come back down this way to some gas station or something. He was having all kinds of issues, and she was afraid he was running her all over hell and back. And then she finally said, just drop me off at home. And if you drop me off at home, my daughter will pick me up. And I said, cause I gotta get going, I can't be doing this all day. So that's it.
What were you driving?
I was driving a blue car.
Your wife's car or your car?
My wife's car.
You got a work truck?
No.
Okay. So that's y'all coming down 25, you and her together? Back towards the hotel?
It could be.
Okay. Cause that's her car, that's about 13:45 on the 27th.
Okay.
So you're with her there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not saying yeah, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that could be her.
Yeah, here's a different angle, but I mean, we've watched this car, right?
Okay.
Here's y'all in the hotel parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah? Oh look, there's y'all backing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of different copies of it, backing in.
Yeah.
The detectives steered the interrogation toward August 27th, 2021. They wanted to know where Daniel had been on that day. He began making excuses, stating that he couldn't remember exactly due to his irregular work schedule. However, his evasiveness only deepened their suspicions.
Oh look, you get out. Nobody else gets out.
I told you that.
You're walking around the car.
Yeah.
You wipe the entire car down.
Because I was worried.
You were worried. There's you walking across the parking lot in front of Little Caesars.
Mm-hmm.
And there's you getting back into your car and driving away.
Oh, she's with me.
Look, man. Where's that?
I don't have a
We need to know. Listen, Dan.
Mhm.
Okay, you are a good dude. I honestly do believe that you screwed up years and years ago,
Okay.
and now.
Can I look at these?
What?
I just want to look and see what you're talking about.
Let's.
No, seriously.
You need to hear this, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a bad guy.
Right.
Nobody is saying that you're some evil, twisted dude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We need to know where it is. We've processed the car. We found the dirt. Where did you go off-road?
I never.
Where did you leave?
Oh, I can tell you exactly where she and I had gone off road. Please. When we were going from 25 south, there was off to the right. There was a truck with a trailer and another vehicle there that had a for sale sign on it, and it looked like an older truck, and I needed a work truck, and I went ahead and I pulled in, and with her, and then we pulled out, and it was right there on 25.
Where's right
And
now?
she
Her
got out
family
and
is
ran away
desperately
screaming.
looking for her.
She's missing right now.
Yes, Dan, where is Ed?
I don't have a clue. I
Yes,
dropped
you
her
do.
off at her house.
Dan, please listen. You did not drop her off at her house. We have followed that car the entire day, up and down 25.
Mhm.
There's a number of minutes that are unaccounted for that are not by her house. Okay?
Which car? Mine or hers?
Dan, stop playing games. You know what
When
we're
I
talking
got,
about.
okay, I can help you here.
Okay.
You gotta give me a second. You gotta let me answer the questions when they're asked. When I dropped her
He
vehicle off,
knows
looking for the guy, she said
what's
she
happening.
wanted me to take her and drive around in my vehicle. So I left her vehicle.
Daniel claimed that he had been in South Carolina around that time, but couldn't recall whether it was Thursday or Friday. He mentioned a woman with personal struggles who had asked him to do home repairs but never officially hired him. He insisted that he had visited her home multiple times, yet no actual work had been completed. This story seemed unusual, prompting the police to further question his true motives.
Went down to Food Lion, and she was in my vehicle with
Playing
me,
World Box,
and
but
I dropped her off at home.
Dan, we watched the video. She
it's
is
in
not.
full screen and
Car
I
sits
gotta
there.
get it out.
It sits there, man.
No, not in her car.
Never.
My car.
We
I
watched you
dropped
go
her
back
off
to
with
Food
my
Lion.
car.
You did not drop anyone off, man.
I picked her back up. She
It's
sat in
not
my car at
official.
Food Lion, and I went back and got her.
No, you did not. When are you trying to say? Please explain. Explain yourself. Please explain at which point that we must have missed in the video that you dropped her off.
Okay.
We have a lot of,
Okay. I get that. You don't have picture of her leaving Food Lion in my vehicle with me? If you don't, you should.
Why your vehicle never went back to her house? We have your vehicle, that silver car, going straight up 25 and not stopping at her house.
That's not true.
It is true.
I
Dan.
stopped at her house.
What's your wife gonna think about this?
Well, my wife would be very upset if I had done something, but I didn't, and I don't know where Edna is.
I think you do, Dan.
No. I don't know where Edna is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Dan.
let's go back to why you wiped the car down. What you said you were worried about what?
The only thing I did was because I knew I'd been in and out of her car all the time with her. I'm like, there is no way in hell.
No, you did not. When are you trying to say? Please explain. Explain yourself. Please explain at which point that we must have missed in the video that you dropped her off.
Okay.
We have a lot of,
Okay. I get that. You don't have picture of her leaving Food Lion in my vehicle with me? If you don't, you should.
Why your vehicle never went back to her house? We have your vehicle, that silver car, going straight up 25 and not stopping at her house.
That's not true.
It is true.
I
Dan.
stopped at her house.
What's your wife gonna think about this?
Well, my wife would be very upset if I had done something, but I didn't, and I don't know where Edna is.
I think you do, Dan.
No. I don't know where Edna is.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Dan.
let's go back to why you wiped the car down. What you said you were worried about what?
The only thing I did was because I knew I'd been in and out of her car all the time with her. I'm like, there is no way in hell I'm gonna just leave this thing here. Because she's got somebody that's after her.
Who would be after her?
That guy with the fucking truck, she said she didn't
It
trust
just
him.
came out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah, so somebody she hired as a
God,
PI.
all these
His
things
story's
are
totally
so
different.
convenient for this douchebag.
I mean, on the son-in-law thing, I mean, we've interviewed, I mean, he had no, he didn't meet with her that day.
I don't want to
So
look
that
at
just-
it.
Right, that's why I said she
Make
said she
this
hired another
World
PI. I'm
Box
sure you're
way
recording
bigger
this.
on my
If
screen.
you go back and listen to it, I told you she said she had to hire another PI
So-
and she sold stuff.
So here's what we have. You're leaving and going back to the hotel, back the car and wipe it off.
Mm-hmm.
And we got you going,
Let's see why.
why
are they
behind the
going
hotel?
war?
Why was it there?
I was just parked over there because she said she was wanting me to see the guy, if the guy actually showed up there. She said, I'm getting worried about
In
this
the
guy.
back of the hotel.
No
Yeah.
breathing.
But you didn't stay there but a second. You jumped right out and wiped it down and take off.
The woman was carrying a gun. She was scared for her life.
She had a gun.
Yeah.
What kind of gun?
Some kind of little semi-automatic she had with her.
Okay. But then you go
That's
across
gonna be the gun that
through 2 or 3 other
she
businesses to
was
get over
shot
the food
with.
line, and you get in your car and leave. Is that correct? That's
I
what
just
you did.
walked this kind of the straightest route from there to
You
Food
did,
Lion.
you did, and it's not making sense of, I mean, you're the last person to be in a vehicle you wiped out of a lady that's missing.
That sounds really fucked up.
It does, that's why we're here, but, and then it's fucked up as it sounds.
He described visiting a woman's house several times, though he couldn't recall the exact
No
address.
reason.
He explained that he used landmarks rather than an address to find his way. This vague recollection only added to the detective's doubts about his credibility.
We're having to do it right, and we're gonna do it right but we got guys down there now, they're homing in about where we think she might be. A lot of people, this is just getting bigger and out of control. I mean, a lot of people,
You think she might be where?
somewhere between her house and the hotel where you dropped the car off.
You think that I have this lady,
Possibly.
okay, I'm gonna say this. You're-
Possibly.
Okay, so.
Enlighten me if I'm wrong.
You think, I imagine the way you're saying this, you think she's probably not alive.
We don't know.
You don't know, man. You
Okay.
don't
She
know.
could be somewhere.
Okay.
She could
He
be on
does
the
sound
rendezvous
like
with
the
somebody.
most
We don't know.
confident one
Well,
of
she
the
was kind of a
bunch.
little horny old broad.
Was she?
Like you can tell
We
when
looked
he's
at everything about her.
maybe
and
it's
seemed
because
that
the
way.
mic is
She's a horny
pointed
little
at
broad.
him.
Did she ever pay you that way?
Hmm?
Did she ever pay you that way?
No.
Go down there?
No, I did not.
That's totally cool if she did.
I realize that, but
But
it would be,
he sounds like
that wouldn't be something
what
that
the
made sense.
detective usually sounds
Okay.
like.
Look,
Probably just
We're
mic
having to do this
placement.
because this is the situation. So
Okay.
your last one with her, we got you on video.
It's windy.
Why-
I'm
why-
not,
so-
I'm not denying I was with her.
So
Okay,
Okay, so they've been
you
around
think,
for a long
this is why I wanna see what you were thinking here. You think that someplace from Food Lion
new
to her
dudes
house, this lady disappeared.
that are also
didn't we
human.
know that?
We're gonna give them
She
everything they
disappeared
want.
between her house.
I dropped her off at her house.
We're gonna help them.
I dropped her off at her house because she said her daughter was coming up. And she says, I'll let my daughter and I deal with this. Because her daughter was supposed to meet this guy. And she was real afraid because her daughter hadn't got there. She wanted me to go with her instead because she wanted someone with
So
her.
her daughter was on the way.
That's what she
To
said.
go down and drop her off to get her Jeep.
Wait, what would it not?
I don't know if that's why her daughter was on the way. Her daughter was gonna, she said that would happen.
But why would you wave the car down if you're nervous? I mean, you know it, now you've known her for years.
Because she was having me leave a vehicle somewhere where someone might be after her. That she said that guy knew her vehicle and I wasn't gonna have part of me on that vehicle. And that's it. People do strange weird shit. I got a real bad past from a long time ago. And unfortunately, my past from a long time ago, a kidnapping, probably makes this look really stupid. But that's not me,
Not
dude.
really.
I didn't.
That's
do
what we're
anything.
saying, man.
I didn't do anything bad enough.
Who do you think would've?
The guy that was hunting her
he
down, or not
sounds
hunting her
like
down, that's a bad term.
detective.
The guy that was supposed to be doing PI work that she said was kind of shady, she got a hold of this guy through some people she said she used to know years ago. And she said, they're not the most savory characters, but if I need something done to my son-in-law, I can get it done.
Daniel admitted that despite visiting the woman 3 or 4 times,
Yes,
he had never actually been paid for any work. He claimed that she always found an excuse to delay hiring him, yet he continued returning in hopes of securing a job. Detectives found it odd that he would persist without any guarantee of payment.
King to be
And
amazing,
he can get the information.
especially smart. Oh, he is amazing.
Well, let's ask you this then. Benefit of the doubt.
But let's just
Between her house and the
bump him up
hotel,
a little bit.
being you've been in there a couple
Go on,
times, is
you
there
know.
any place she frequents between here and there
Give
that you
him
know of that she
a
mentioned?
little
That we need to go check and see where she.
Okay, I don't know the area real good,
Yeah.
but I can tell you another place that I've been to with her previously, when we were out looking at stuff and
Any
checking out
place she
materials.
mentioned, go ahead.
There's a fruit market
Oh, I made
that's
them
like
as
got
OP
fruit
as you
and
go down the
vegetables
slate.
and something not that far from that.
One right across the street from her house.
What if
No,
you
no,
made
no,
him
no.
mute?
No,
That'd
No,
this
up or
is,
down?
this is down,
be
further.
kinda cool.
down, I think it's 25, I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
so you're going down,
Mute
left or
King.
right? You're going toward Trail Street.
We were on the right hand, we were on the same side of the road as her, but she had driven around to a couple other little
He's
places she had
gonna be
stopped at.
basically-
And this was like 3-4 weeks before
Yeah,
that.
but he's gonna be mute.
But you asked me if there's other places she goes.
Yeah.
Those
Too
are other
low
places she
key.
goes.
What about those folks that you said that when y'all were
Otherwise-
coming back down, y'all stopped?
Looked at the truck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Truck and trailer?
Mhm.
Why'd y'all stop there?
It was just there, we just pulled in and looked, I said, oh, that's kinda cool, let me see that. And I went ahead and did the loop around, came back, pulled in,
Okay.
and looked. I didn't even get out of the vehicle, I just looked and saw the price on it, which I don't remember, but it
Where
was
was it at?
on 25 heading south, I believe. If you want me to go down there with you and show you where all I've been, I'll be glad to.
And we may do that. We may.
What,
Double check.
was anyone like standing outside selling it, or was
No,
there a used
no,
car
no,
lot?
no, it was just like in fact, you go down, there's a little road right there,
Okay.
and,
Remember the name of the road?
no,
Tell you what, we got brought a map. See the map?
Oh, I can't give him this one.
This is a makeshift map that we have constructed. It's topographical, so
okay.
you can actually see design.
I don't know why it'd be that important where we stop to look at a vehicle for
Yeah,
30
we're checking,
seconds.
we're checking in
We
there.
wanna, we'll bid your storage just like everybody else.
Okay. Alright, where's her house?
This
Help me
is
out.
25, her house is right there.
Okay, and now is North Carolina that way or this way?
That way, this is
Okay,
north.
so when we were coming down this way, yeah, I moved
Yeah, go for it.
You know, I just,
Go.
it was kind of like a little road like this, or just something off like this, and there was a lot there, and people, it looks like parked vehicles there for sale.
Which is north, which is south.
That's north.
Which road?
It was like something like right here, or, because there was a little road, you see how that looks, is that a little road?
I'm not sure.
He also mentioned another elderly woman in Tennessee who may have needed repairs, considering it an opportunity to take his wife on a trip. His willingness to travel such long distances for uncertain jobs raised further suspicions about his true intentions.
Sure.
Yeah, see me either.
He's mute, so he's got.
He said it was up here.
Yeah, okay, and there's a food stand on that side.
That's not it.
So you come down.
I don't know where the fruit stand is, I'm not gonna be able to find it for you.
That's-
But there's like, you see how this says Steamy Valley Road?
Yeah.
There's something like, well, that's not it, because there's buildings right there.
Right.
Okay, but it was kinda going this way, there was a road that come off this way. It didn't look like a big main road, but there was a little place right here that you pull in, and people had vehicles out there for sale. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about if you're from down
If
there.
we get down there, I think we probably driven by.
So you stopped at Food Lion to meet with Edna to go back up to her house to meet with the PI guy?
Yeah, I told her I'd meet her there because I was getting some yogurt.
So you drove an extra 15 minutes down to Food Lion just to get yogurt?
Well, because she said she was supposed to meet the guy down that way.
Okay. But then you drove back up there,
Back up where?
to her house. So you met with her at Food Lion, you got your yogurt,
Mm-hmm.
you met with her at Food Lion,
Tooth.
and drove back to her house. So you met with her around 9:30-ish.
Mm-hmm.
You go up there.
Because the guy wasn't where he was supposed to be. She called, he said he would be there in a couple hours.
Call her house phone or cell phone?
She had a cell phone on her. She had two cell phones on her.
Two cell phones she has.
They all just send
She had a little flip phone,
They did.
and she had a bigger cell
That's not
phone.
what they were
And she was
supposed
talking to her
to do.
daughter
They
on
were
one, and
supposed
she
to
talked to
come
the guy on a
down
little
here.
flip phone.
Okay.
I made all the.
And then you go up there.
Mm-hmm.
To her house.
We went to her house because he said it was gonna be a boss.
Okay, what'd you say about Wood?
And then she called her daughter and talked to her daughter and said, are you coming to meet me or what? Because she hadn't come to meet her.
The woman appeared nervous about meeting a stranger, suspecting he might not be trustworthy. She asked Daniel to accompany her to the scheduled meeting at a restaurant near Food Lion. However, the man never showed up as promised.
Sound like the
Okay,
detective.
what'd her daughter say?
I don't know. I couldn't hear the other side of the conversation. But she told me, she says she'll be here in a little while.
Can you circle where you think y'all stopped?
We might take a field trip.
I can't circle where I think because I don't have a place I think. I just know it was on that road. I mean, I'm not gonna try to,
It's on the right to front.
Alright.
yeah, well, because we were going south toward Food Lion.
All right.
And we went back down that way. This guy ran her around. She was talking to him on a cell phone, ran her around 3 or 4 times, and she was getting more and more and more nervous about it. And that's why I got nervous, because I'm like, this sucks, this sucks. I'm in the middle of this. I got this old lady with me. This sucks. So, but after I got done, she said her daughter, she said, take me back home. She wanted some of her medicine. I took her back home. We went into her house.
Yeah, right.
And that was the first time I'd been in her house that day. And when we were in the house, she, again,
So his DNA is definitely in the
I don't know if she
house.
talked to her daughter again or not. And, you know, come on. I don't know.
We don't see that on her phone records or her daughters. Her daughters they're very cooperative. They're riding the roads looking for her.
Sure.
So we've
You don't
looked
see
at all
where
the-
she talked to her daughter at all that day?
No.
I think you
Well,
need to look
it was
again.
It was on the morning that the daughter told us.
Okay, okay. You don't see where she talked to her daughter at all that morning?
One time.
One time.
Okay.
They run around, are you coming to get me?
We have to
we don't see that.
create a new.
I don't know. I know she talked to her daughter one time with me.
You ever
Thinking
met her
orcs.
daughter?
Never met her
Right.
daughter.
Okay.
You ever met her son?
Never met anybody in her
I was
family,
gonna
but
say
I've
right there, but
I've met no
maybe
people
You ever
other
meet her
than
neighbors?
Maybe at
No.
the bar.
Your neighbors,
No,
but
too
you've
close
driven
my
to-
OP little guys.
Before.
Sure.
I can't believe they all
I drove
assimilate.
to house like
just
3 or 4
like
years
that.
ago.
Assholes.
And you were up there earlier in the week
So
too.
weak.
This house.
Mhm.
Create your own land, dummies.
So we're gonna be able to see your car pulling out at this house on those days.
Oh my God. I'm good to
All I
go.
have to do is
You know why I'm good to go?
What?
She's got cameras all around her house.
so
I'm good to go
rough
because she's got
editing,
cameras. It'll show that I dropped her off.
You know,
Really?
She's got cameras. She even told me she got cameras because she was
some land.
keeping them there because if people show up or something, she wants to have a record of who was there.
See
It
what
will show that
happens.
I dropped her off and I pulled away.
You talking about her house cameras?
Mhm.
That don't work.
What? No, come on, man.
I know
Why
I've
upload
had some crabs.
She told me that those cameras were there to keep track. She told me
Yeah,
that a long
yeah.
time ago.
Long
Big
time
fan
ago.
of crabs.
Yeah, she was talking to me about the cameras and stuff.
Their batteries are dead.
Lucky
After multiple
crabs.
failed attempts to contact the man, she decided to return home with Daniel. They stayed there for about 2 hours before heading back to the Food Lion parking lot. She seemed anxious and displayed unusual behavior, pulling out a bag containing jewelry or cash, which she claimed was meant to pay the private investigator.
I dropped her off. She was going to have her daughter take her back to get her vehicle when she was done.
Okay, so
Let me just create some.
y'all drove down, right? She's with you in the Jeep, okay? You go back to the food line.
Jeep, her Jeep, yeah.
She's with you. You
all
go back to the
decide
food
to
line
stay
first,
there. Oh, you need food.
and you drop her off there.
Here.
She's gonna
Here's
wait by
some
your car.
chickens. Yeah. Here's some
You
milk.
lost me. Can I have some more water? Sure.
Okay.
I'm having trouble even talking.
So,
Part of
Here's
your
the other question.
Amish
that's fine. So,
You guys
Boston
said I did something
friendship.
silly.
we don't know. That's why,
Sheep for rugs.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something right now.
you can tell me where to look.
And some
Honest opinion. If I knew where Edna was, I would tell you. If I knew who this guy was in this
bushes
truck that she was
with
having me watch for
berries
her with,
for
she
your,
asked me if I would help protect her and take
dessert.
care of her because she wanted to make sure that this guy didn't do something stupid because she was hiring somebody shady. Because she wanted to have something done
Sure,
to her
yeah.
son-in-law.
Yeah, sure,
She
yeah.
got
Did she ever say PI's name?
Mm-mm. No, she said she hired one guy and gave him like $6,000 as a PI. I think that's what it was. Or maybe it was $6,000 she needed for her daughter because her daughter was in jail. And anyway,
Unhealthy
she had mentioned
ecosystem.
$6,000. She had already gone through $6,000 between the daughter and the PI or whatever. She said that friends helped her find another guy that said he was really good at this. But she didn't trust him.
Yes.
But she was going to go ahead and meet with him. She didn't want to meet
Like
with him
the
alone. She
whole
wanted to meet with him with her
You were
story
daughter.
of
driving
this woman.
the Jeep down to go meet, and then you back
Why
and
do you
let her
know
out,
so
or
much
how
about
did it
this
work?
lady
She was gonna meet him
dog?
where, you said that.
There was a hotel, or I don't even know the name of the hotel that's right next to the Food Lion.
Okay.
It's not a good look.
Did y'all stop at a restaurant on the way down?
We stopped at a restaurant. No, I've never been to a restaurant with that.
Alright, that's,
So
Jeez.
she said that she was
No,
supposed
don't
to
go
meet
to
him.
war.
She
You're
said
gonna
she
lose.
was supposed to meet him and she didn't want to do it alone because her daughter wasn't there.
There's only
And
so
that's
much
why
I
I
can
went
do,
with her.
my friend.
and so y'all go to the hotel.
Where is your
She goes
force?
where?
Right
She
there.
said my vehicle.
Oh.
She said he knows what I look like. He knows what my vehicle looks like. She
You
says,
just got
can
wiped
you go
out.
see if he's there
You're
and if
done.
he's got somebody with him because I'm worried he
Why
might have
would
somebody
you
with him
do
that might do
that?
something stupid. Because she was supposed to bring him money.
Your king was an idiot.
So I said, sure, I'll
Like
drive
what
up there and drive
major
around. He would
people
throw him
do.
off if it wasn't.
Now
If
they're
he was
getting
looking for her in a vehicle,
plundered.
he'd be like, oh, it's a vehicle that looks like him. So I go up there and I drop off the vehicle. I go back down to my vehicle to where she is sitting at. She's
so
perfectly
dumb.
safe in finding my
Yeah.
vehicle Food Line. I said,
Dear
what do you
Lord.
want to do? Because she says, if we're going to keep looking for him, I don't want to be in my
Celebration.
vehicle because I don't want him to spot me if you're doing something stupid. I'm
I was
getting
gonna say
scared.
maybe that's
Detectives
why they
discovered that the
assimilate.
woman had taken out a $4,000 loan and handed it over to a mysterious man for an investigation. However, he continued demanding more money, making her increasingly fearful that she was being scammed. Her growing panic was something Daniel may have taken advantage of.
Then she said, you know what, I need my medication. Take me home. Let's get my medication.
Do I need to
And
give
got
them
her
an
home. I said,
island
what do you want to
somewhere?
do now? I said, because I can't be doing this all day. I got to get back home. I got to do the things I'm doing.
They're already
And
getting
she said,
bombed.
tell you what, my daughter's going to be coming up here. She can take me to go get my vehicle so you don't have to run around all over. Thanks for everything you've done. I said, okay, I'll see you later.
You ever done this for her before or anybody?
No.
You know, I've got like a box or a bodyguard or anything like that? You've never had to do this? This is a pretty interesting story.
She's scared.
Yeah, I understand. But, about 30 minutes ago, you couldn't even remember the day you went down.
I couldn't remember if it was Thursday or Friday. I said, I don't know if it's Thursday or Friday.
And then we get this elaborate story.
It's not elaborate.
I mean, it's detailed. It's not elaborate.
But all you started off with was we there Friday, and I'm like, I don't know, if it's
Created
Thursday or
the
Friday, and I've been there
club
earlier in the
of
week.
Why'd you move for driver seat up?
them.
Hmm?
Why'd you move
Now
for
go
driver seat up?
pillage. Go pillage to your heart's desire.
That's what I'm calling the video.
I never moved to driver's seat when I got in.
An auspicious start to your
All we pushed up.
Hmm? Well, I didn't want to. All I it was sitting there, drive it up there. It was just right around the corner, man. I'm not gonna go adjust in somebody's seats and play with their seats.
Right around the corner, it's like a 10-minute drive
This
from her house to the
fire
hotel.
Just 4 or 5 miles down there.
I just never
Gonna
moved
leave
her
it
vehicle seat. I don't move my wife's vehicle seat when I get in my wife's
So
car.
when you were driving her back, did she say anything?
That's for clothes.
Back to her house?
Yeah.
For
She
my
said I'm feeling sick in my
barbarians.
stomach, I really need my medication.
What kind of meds?
I don't know. Come on. She told me, this is what, I can tell you what she said she had wrong with her.
Okay, fair enough.
But I can't tell you the name of her med.
Okay, what'd she have wrong with it?
Give me just a second. It's, something to do with your intestines, like losing the term here.
Why am I thinking about making
Gastroenteritis or something like that, where she said she got diarrhea and she said this was upsetting her so much that she was feeling like she was gonna have diarrhea and she needed her medication. And she was saying she was,
Gug top.
feeling dizzy. And she wanted medication because she was feeling dizzy and she was feeling upset. And this whole thing with this guy was driving her nuts because she didn't trust him and she was scared. So I took her home. I dropped her off and I left.
They killed them up. Did
I promise you.
everything. They
I
killed
took her home,
everyone.
dropped her off, and I left.
What time did you get home? Back up here, did you come back
They
straight
need to
home?
be armed.
Daniel accompanied her to multiple locations, including a hotel where she hoped to meet the private investigator. Instead, he drove her around aimlessly, heightening her distress. His story became more inconsistent as police reviewed security footage from those areas.
No, I didn't come straight home.
Where'd you go?
Well, I stopped different places. I stopped at Tractor Supply and get bird food.
Okay.
I got a bunch of chickens and guinea hens and turkeys.
Can they build
And
their
I'm
own
pretty
stuff?
certain that I stopped at Tractor Supply and got bird food. And I probably stopped in at Lowe's. It seems like I can't make any damn trips anywhere through Forest City that don't stop at Lowe's at least once.
Yeah.
Is that where Truck Supply is, Forest City?
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
My story about Lana.
So when you dropped her off that
grandparents.
the last time, y'all are coming back from TR after leaving her car at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You drive back up to her house,
Mm-hmm.
and you turn down Norfolk Buncombe to park the back way like she likes it, right, and come in.
If that's the name of the road, sir, I don't know.
Yeah, but her house is right there on the corner.
Yeah.
And you come in, you turn into her, right?
Mm-hmm.
She gets out. Does she say anything when she gets out?
I walked to the house with her.
Okay.
I walked up to the house with her. I got myself a drink because I was thirsty. She gave me a bottle of water.
Okay. Good. Okay, very friendly. And she,
She sat there for a couple minutes. She went and got her medication, and she took some medication.
Okay.
She has medication. I saw her get it out of a drawer next to her computer.
Okay. And she takes her meds, and when she go to bed, you leave.
She said she was gonna go lay down.
My
Okay.
story
And that's when you left.
about my dog and me.
Okay. So your car's parked there. You make a left-hand
That's a
turn onto
long
25 and
post.
come on up. Right.
Trying to keep my
Don't want to be lying to you.
Her house is right there.
website active.
So you come in. Right. You come
I
in.
came
It's
down,
tough, you know.
I drove right straight through because there's a place you can see where you can drive. And when I left there, I went like this.
Okay. So you turn left. That one.
Yep.
Right here.
Tough.
Okay.
It's just
Pardon?
something.
Went north. So.
Oh,
Oh.
I thought you said no. I'm like, yeah, I
It's
did.
fun.
So check this out.
It's easy.
Mhm.
It's fun.
Her house. Right there.
Yeah.
This is an antique shop. Right.
Mm-hmm.
They have a camera
Mm-hmm.
overlooking
So
her driveway.
man.
Your car then pulled out and made a left-hand turn.
Well, then I backed out and came down this way.
But you remember the details, everything else. But you
Well,
don't remember
I've been there enough times that it could be fucked up. But I'm pretty sure I did what I told you I did.
this. Why did you totally reroute and go north of Buncombe then?
No, I never did that.
Okay, so you made a left-hand turn.
At some point.
So what-
At
Yeah.
some point, you
Yeah.
made a left-hand turn
Mhm.
out directly in front of the camera that we can see
Like
everybody
these
leaving
guys,
Edna's
they
house
make
coming
it.
that way from, and your car
So they get whatever.
did not make a
Sir.
left-hand turn. The
Then-
and listen.
Okay, I'm listening.
Alright, they
You
get-
just heard me, I'll listen to you.
No.
Last vehicle leaving was at
They're hammered.
1343 when Edna's Jeep made it right.
Eventually, the woman asked Daniel to take her home, believing her daughter would pick her up. But did Daniel truly take her home safely, or was he involved in her disappearance?
Isn't that
This question
terrifying?
was becoming increasingly critical in the investigation.
Right-hand turn going down 25. The next vehicle to pull out is her son at around 1800 on the
Claw
28th.
hammer.
What time was Edna's Jeep leaving?
1343.
We'll just like put a hole in your skull.
Okay.
No other vehicles left is what I'm getting at.
Okay, but I may have come out and done this. I'm not 100% certain. I've been in and out of there enough times to where I'm not 100% certain how I got out of there. But I would have believed I would have gone straight. But that's not necessarily true. But anyway, I did not do anything to Edna except drop her off at home.
Did she ever talk about meeting anybody else?
Yes.
You know who? Anybody?
The guy with the truck. Oh, you mean other than him?
Yeah.
She said that she'd been talking to some guy online that she was gonna go out with. Now, I don't know if she was gonna meet him that day or not. She just talking about the fact that she'd had a couple guys she was talking to online.
How long have you known Edna?
About 4 years.
4 years.
Mhm.
How many times do you think how often do you talk to her? Even if it's on internet?
Okay, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
I talked to her like 2 or 3 times, and in the last 3 months, I've probably talked to her a dozen times, maybe more.
What kind of situation is going on in her life? She mentioned anything to you that might be going on, or, I mean, is she upset, is she depressed?
She's very upset. I would say she was very depressed.
Did she say anything about where she frequents, any place that would stand out in your mind that we need to go, where she wants to be quiet, be by herself, anywhere that we could go look?
Oh, you need to go see if she's hanging out somewhere?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything
The only thing we
like
wanna know
that.
right now is just
The
where
only
she's.
thing, she has a lady she works for that she stays with a lot. I don't mean stays overnight or anything.
Mhm.
She stays there working with her.
Oh no, is the heater on? Oh my goodness.
And I know where that's at, because she pointed it out to me. It's a little trailer park retirement community, and she said, that's the second trailer, I think, is what she said, where I go there and talk to her and stay with her.
Oh.
That's the lady with the houses in Gatlinburg. But whatever the case, man, all I know is, yes, I was with her. Yes, I tried to help the lady out. I got tired of being drug all over the place. I took her home and I left. And that's it.
Who else do you think we need to talk to?
I would talk to her son-in-law.
Okay. Who else?
Obviously her daughter's cooperating with you, and her daughter wouldn't have done anything to her. The only person that could have possibly wanted to do anything to her would have been the son-in-law, because she said he was very, very controlling and very mean to her daughter. And she said that he knew that she had gotten the private investigators looking for her daughter's stuff. So to me, it sounds like he could be somebody that might have done something or know somebody that did something.
When cornered, Daniel